now that, you know, sound and music and our VFX teams have our picture locked version, you mentioned to me spotting meeting. Now, I'll be honest, I've never worked on a production as large as the ones you have in the post-production department, so I have no idea what a spotting meeting is.
Much like your tone meeting in prep, where the creatives sort of decide the theme and the feel and maybe subtle nuances and creative ways to tell your story, the spotting session is much more specific for those departments now, sound, music, and VFX. And typically what they compose of is you will have your sound team, for instance. Let's start with sound. You will get your sound team on board. It could be as large as a sound effects editor and a dialogue editor and maybe an assistant or two. It could just be as small as one person helping you out. The point is you need to have a spotting session with that person because it will benefit them in the long run and help them complete the job a lot faster. And
much is the same as the picture editor, right?
Exactly.
You don't want a composer coming up with, you know, happy, joyful music when you have, you know, a horror film or something. But okay. So,
yeah, and the process is ultimately the same with each of the departments. You would meet with them and watch the entire project. And typically go scene by scene and play maybe the scene and then discuss that scene. As the filmmaker, it's your chance to tell your sound designer, for instance. Now, maybe it can be specific as, you know, this is a horror movie. This needs to sound dark and scary and foreboding. This is a comedy. This needs to sound lighthearted. You can definitely even get way more specific than that. But
yeah, like you could even get into like, I want these type of instruments. Like I want them all to be like, you know,
for music,
percussion,
yes.
Percussion. Sorry, we're on sound
that's okay.
effects.
Yeah. But it's the same process where you will watch a scene and you can discuss that scene with sound or music. VFX might be a little more specific. You wouldn't go through the whole show, but we can get there. But yeah, you watch the scene, you can discuss with the sound editor, and it gives them an opportunity to ask you questions because they are in theory, they are the master of their craft, so they might have ideas to run by you at that point, which you can yay or nay. They might have questions for you.
And I mean, not being a huge, like, you know, I do a lot of music videos and stuff, but, you know, so I always kind of have an ear for that, or what I want for my films. But I remember one composer I worked with, and, you know, they started coming to me with ideas about certain types of instruments, where I was going with earlier. So that's, you know, that's something else that, you know, by having these meetings, they can start giving you ideas, because you kind of also want to create a musical theme, much the same way that you have like a color theme and continuity. You can have that with music. The protagonist of a film, you know, maybe it's, you know, a different type of instruments. You hear lots of woodwind instruments, whereas when you get the antagonist, you get like dark tones, and he's using all like, I don't know, brass instruments.
That's exactly, that's the opportunity to talk through that stuff, hear ideas, give ideas. Yeah, and it will benefit you in the long run. And you know what? It's not uncommon that maybe you head in a direction because of this spotting meeting, and then you listen to the sound or whatever, and then it doesn't work, and that's fine. It gives you an opportunity to find out what you didn't like, and then build on that and move forward from that. Going back to keeping those lines of dialogue open between you and those departments.
And guys, like honestly, the music that you choose is so important, and it's something I learned a little bit later on. I was always so focused on the visuals. The music was kind of always off to the side. You know, to me, I always thought, oh, you know, I'll purchase some royalty-free music and plop it in there, and oh, wow, it looks amazing, sounds great. But really, guys, like you can do so much more if you really put that effort in. You really bring on people that know that craft. For any of you that have taken the psychology and filmmaking course, you'll know that there's a whole section about music and, you know, whether the music is in the film or outside of the film. Music inside of the film is music that the characters can hear and interact with. Music that is outside of the film is something like the score that only the audience hears. So these are other things that you can do. And there's actually one of the lessons that people really like in that course is when you take the exact same scene and apply different music to it, it completely changes the mood, whether like the antagonist is winning or losing or sad or happy. You can really take your films to the next level by having, you know, a good composer, and by doing these spotting meetings to make sure that your music is really carrying along the, you know, the emotion and the theme that you want.
Yeah.